What's up, everybody, and welcome to Teality, the show where T meets reality. This is the place where we talk reality TV, celebrity mess, iconic moments, forgotten cast members, legendary feuds, and all the things we still argue about in group chats 15 years later. Now, if you grew up in the 2000s and the early 2010s, like I did, then you know there was a time. You hear me? We had a time when reality TV was everything. Now, before Zeus, before social media influencers, and before everybody had a podcast, there was Basketball Wives. And baby, Basketball Wives had us in a chokehold. I know it did with me. But today isn't about Evelyn. Today isn't even about Shaunie. Today we're talking about the women who came in, stirred the pot, got caught in the crossfire, and then disappeared. The forgotten wives. The one season wonders. The women fans love and the women fans hated. And the women who had us asking ourselves, shit, what happened to her? So grab your tea, y'all, because we about to get into it. Hey, episode 1, we talking about Basketball Wives, y'all. Let's go. All right, y'all. So before I get messy with y'all, I gotta take it back. Basketball Wives originally started in Miami, y'all. For anybody that's a true fan, we know that it started in Miami first and followed women connected to professional basketball players. So let's talk about the original cast first. We start with Shaunie O'Neal, which is the executive producer, and she also was married to Shaq. Then we have Evelyn Lozada. You know, she came on the show. She was a fiance of Anton. Hey, Evelyn. And then Jennifer Williams, she was married to Eric Williams. I did not like that for my girl because, Royce, hey, Royce Reed, y'all already know Royce and my girl. And then Suzie. Everybody remembers Suzie. And then eventually the one and only Tami Roman, baby, Tami came on the scene and did not play. I tell y'all, no game. That's my girl. Now, what made Basketball Wives special? It wasn't even about the basketball. And that's the funny part about it, y'all. Most of the time, they weren't even talking about basketball. We were watching their friendships fall apart. We were watching their alliances form. And we were watching people get iced out. And somehow, every season, somebody was getting called fake. I mean, every season, somebody was being called fake. The show became so successful that it extended to Los Angeles, where we met Malaysia Pargo. Yay, Malaysia. The one and only Jackie Christie, of course. Drea Michelle, Gloria and Laura Govan, and a whole new level of drama. But while everyone else remembers the stars, a lot of people forgot the women who came and went. And today, we giving y'all ladies y'all flowers. So y'all stay tuned and see who I'm going to be talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 Okay.
Thought I did that top like I see you, boy.
Look, me versus you and you know they picking. Cheap and expensive, you know the difference. You know that it's hating, you know what it's giving. Hair, nails, bare. I can survive in the coldest conditions. Hoes very low, they told me they spin. This is wash, soap in the dishes. I apply pressure like ball constrictors. One bitch, two bitch, old bitch, new bitch. None of y'all bitches not gon' do shit. I'm in Miami, I pull up on cruise ship. You in Miami for us to room shit. When I step a stampede, put on neck, can't breathe. Lucky charm, bang clean, diamonds on I see my eyes. Linking up, I'm like, what in the fuck? If you scared, then just say that whole enough is enough. They was just in my DMs, ain't no trust in these sluts. I'm about to call up diamond, bitch. No, if you linking up, I'm like, what in the fuck? If you scared, then just say that whole enough is enough. They was just in my DMs, ain't no trust in these sluts. I'm about to call up diamond, bitch. No, if you I'm like,
all right, y'all. This segment is called the Forgotten Wives Hall of Fame. And number 1 on the list is Mika Claxton. Oh my God. So we're going to start with Mika Claxton. Anybody that know Mika, we know how she came on the scene on the show. She came on, she was supposed to be dibbling and dabbling in real estate. And, she went 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and had so many sit-downs with people. And she was actually like Suzie, y'all, for real. She was just like Suzie. Everybody know that Suzie couldn't hold water. And Mika couldn't hold water neither. You take one conversation from one to the next and to the next. One thing I don't like about Mika is the simple fact that Tami told you on the first come up, the first meet up, don't talk about her behind her back. Anything that you have to say to her, say to her. And so she already made it clear. No, Mika, you decided that you were going to keep talking, and Tami wound up popping you in your face. So we know that's how that whole season went with you. Like, people were coming after you just because of your mouth. And then Evelyn even went in on your ass at the reunion. Anybody that watched the reunion can remember Evelyn saying, girl, who did your earrings? Because you rocking earrings from season 1. And she was like, oh, well, my stylist is this, and this. And she told that lady, you are not the original of them earrings, boo-boo. You feel me? Like, everybody remembers Mika. And it was just like, I don't feel like she was a good fit for the show because she actually didn't really bring anything. Like, I never saw her, sell any homes. Like, I didn't see her do anything. So her time on the show was very brief, and I'm happy that it was. So for her, she was gone, one season finished. Next, we're going to talk about Kenya Bell. Whew. Anybody that know Kenya, she came on the show saying she was the next Beyonce. She up in there popping all that in the videos. Jen, Suzie, and all them like, oh my God, she looks crazy. What is she doing? And she pushing 40. So why was she trying to have a music career? Now, in my opinion, I feel like you could do anything at whatever age you want. So I'm not going to go too much into her career because everybody has a starting point and everybody has an ending. Now, as far as her beginning and ending on that show, it wasn't good. She had a wine bottle thrown at her head. Evelyn quick threw that shit at her, but she was another one, just like Mika. People ask you not to talk, don't say shit, don't act weird, and you did all of that. And then you call Evelyn loose, and Evelyn felt some type of way, threw a bottle. It was what it was. In the end, she gave you a half-ass apology. You accepted it, and y'all moved on. So, but I feel like her time on the show, I feel like she shouldn't have been on there because she really didn't bring much to the show neither, other than bad wigs, crazy energy, and just too much. Too much. So Kenya lasted one season and became one of the most forgotten cast members in franchise history. So Kenya, I'm bringing you back from wherever you came from. Hey girl, how you doing? Hope life has been treating you well. But on to the next. Next we have Keisha Nichols. Oh my God. Po Keisha came on the show that she was not ready for. And then you came on the show and you had something to say about a person that you know for a fact you wasn't ready for. Then you decide to say, oh, well, I could have talked to Tami and I could have went there with her, but I couldn't do that because she was already making herself look bad type shit. And it was just like, no, y'all too much confessional gangsters. Won't y'all just say what y'all had to say to that lady at the time? And the whole situation would have, ended some type of way. But I feel like with Keisha, Keisha came on the scene. Her and Royce had a lot in common. They both were dancers and stuff like that. And so they connected. But she didn't really mesh well with Tami because on their first sit down, Tami asked her was she white and she said she was mixed. And instead of you saying what you had to say to Tami then, you went to Evelyn and you told her how you felt. And of course, it got back to Tami. And we had the infamous trip that happened where Tami told that lady, you can get your purse if you come back over here and sit down and say what you had to say to me. Instead of her saying what she had to say and standing on business, that lady left crying. And then almost said that Tami stole her property. How can somebody steal something you left behind? Really and truly, Tami should have left the shit there and let the hotel or whatever, let them deal with it. But yeah, Keisha, you was on the show that you wasn't meant for. And to this day, people still debate who was wrong in the situation. Was it Keisha? Was it Tami? Was Tami being a bully? Honestly, I don't feel like Tami was being a bully, especially when she's asked women certain times to stop talking about her. Don't say nothing behind her back because she know how that group was, how they get down. You say one thing and everybody else take and run with it, add their little stuff to it, and by the time it get to the person, man, fuck that. It's over with. It is over with. So, Keisha, I hope you're doing well. I hate that your time on the show was like that, but I hope that you had learned some type of lesson going forward, and I wish you nothing but the best. Next, we have Nia Crooks. Sorry, y'all, Nia. Now, y'all like, who the hell is Nia? Or Naya? Who is that? But her name is really Naya. I call her Nia. But Naya is the girl that was the assistant to Evelyn, and she also was Jennifer's friend. She's also the young lady that said, Jennifer, do I need to slap you in your face for you to wake up? And Jennifer said, yeah, I wish you would. Why would you invite somebody to come around and slap you for one and not be getting up? Like, you sat down all the way for her to come and slap you. And then when you got up, y'all was, what Evelyn and Tami said, they were salsa dancing. Like, it was no fight. Like, I feel like, Jennifer, you should have got up, slapped fire out that bitch. You feel me? Like, especially since she hit you on national TV. You feel me? And then Evelyn jumping on the table, trying to run across and trying to hit her and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like that lady shouldn't have came on the show. I feel like Evelyn and Jen should have worked that shit out because it was really small. And I don't respect old girl for hitting her, and I also don't respect old girl getting mad that a police report was made. Anybody that know Jen on the show knew that she wasn't a fighter. Yeah, she talked a lot of shit, but she wasn't a fighter. So, I mean, boo-boo, you had to go through what it was. I mean, there's consequences for everything. You can't just go around slapping people. It don't matter if you're friends or not. Everybody not going to be on that type of timing. And I feel like when Jen got slapped, everybody looked at her like, oh, that's some punk move, calling the police and this, that, and the third, until it was one of them that got slapped. You feel me? Or one of them get hurt. And then Evelyn, like, towards season 5, wind up doing a police report because she was assaulted. So, I mean, like, you can't tell somebody what to do in that situation. So, for Naya, you should have never been on the show. You was irrelevant. You should have just stayed where you was, and then come to find out you did all that, and you and Evelyn not even friends to this day. So, boo. And just like that, you was gone. So, next, we're going to talk about Angel Brinks. Everybody knew Angel came on the show. She brought fashion, personality, something different. But somehow, she never became one of the franchise centerpieces, which is crazy because outside the show, she built one of the strongest brands of anyone who ever appeared. But I always say that, yeah, some women come on the show and they benefited from the show. Some of them came on with a brand and wanted to promote their brand, and that's what Angel did. And if you really look at Angel now, Angel is that girl. You feel me? Angel been doing that. Like, her fashion, everything is up to par. Like, clock that. So, Angel, I'm not mad about your time on the show because you was a sweet girl and you came on and you did your thing. It was what it was. So, it is. Next, DJ Duffy. Anybody that know DJ Duffy, she came on the scene. She had a big personality. She came on popping her shit until it was her and Tami. Her and Tami, that shit came to her head. DJ Duffy said, I don't want to have to slap you in front of your daughter. And then they wind up going out of town. Tami said, well, my daughter is not here. And so DJ Duffy did absolutely nothing but talk behind Tami back like most women have done. And so you see how that happened. She almost went flying off the top of that building. And then I don't respect you for swinging at Tami when Tami was being held back. Nah, not letting you do that. That's not cool. So, DJ Duffy, she had her time on the show, so she was cool or whatever, but that's it. And she never became a major player in the Basketball Wives universe. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, she had a job. She was a DJ. She was pretty. She had fashion. I don't know what happened to DJ Duffy and her time on the show. It's just, I hope nothing but the best for her, and that's all.
Good thing. Don't know if I'ma see you again, but is that a good thing? 'Cause girl, I can't be your man. No man, I know it's on your brain. You probably hope it never would end. Like, is it the real thing, or is it just a one night stand? Well then, let me show you high and go low. Now girl, won't you drop that thing down to the floor? I'm here for one night, how far will you go? I wanna see you. Chains, ride around town in the big old range. I knew when I rock big old chains. Not a little nigga doing big old things. Would you look at that? I came back for just to get to you, like you asked for. Man, that thing in them jeans too fat for. 3 down, so I caught off the backboard. I told her, baby girl, come here. Know I run the town even when I ain't from there. And I brag hardly, but just to show up at this party I made with your nigga making one hit. That's unfair, but so is life. Take a chance, roll the dice. Money can't buy your love, 'cause it's overpriced. Don't overthink, just hope it's right. I'm only here for the night.
Alright, y'all, welcome back. We are in segment 3, which is called the Core 5. And today we're going to be talking about the key players. So first, before I get started, I'm going to tell my honest opinion on these 5 ladies. Based on the show, nothing else. Just based on their behavior and stuff that they showed on the show. So first, I'm going to start with Shaunie. Shaunie is the boss, the producer, and the gatekeeper. I feel like this, and people feel like that now currently about Natalie Nunn. It makes no sense for you to be the CEO or the producer of a show, and you actually on the show as a cast member. Because when you cross that boundary of being a boss into a cast member with the people you have hired, you're not exempt from anything that comes your way. Like, for example, Shaunie, up to that point, the only person that ever put Shaunie really in her place was Gloria. Gloria put her in her place because Shaunie was trying to bully. I'm going to say bully. Because if anybody remembers, Suzie and Gloria was sitting at the table having lunch, and then Evelyn, Jennifer, and Shaunie all walked in at the table and started verbally attacking, not physically. And so, a situation that had nothing to do with her, you tried to make it about her, so she was like, fuck that. It's about me and my blood, you feel me? My blood over y'all. I don't give a fuck about y'all. I don't care about y'all opinion or nothing. So she was the first person to put Shaunie in her place. And then the infamous Brandy Maxio put her in her place and called her a bitch. She didn't like that, and she decided to try to fire her. But Brandy eventually came back to the show. Shaunie just felt like she was exempt from anything because she was the executive producer. But in my eyes, I feel like, shit, you wanted to be a part of the mix so bad, don't be mad that now people is saying shit about you, people holding you to a certain standard. Shaunie felt like she was just off limits when it came to certain things. She would sit up high and watch people fighting. It's been plenty of times she could have stopped certain fights. Like, for example, the situation with Keisha and Tami. On the boat, you didn't have to tell Tami what you told her. She was already saying, well, I'm a chill. I want to sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with Keisha so she could get out everything that she needed to say. No, in that moment, you chose to say, well, she's still talking shit. So that's what happened. You was responsible for the shit that happened with Keisha, even though Tami should have not took that drink. She shouldn't have took that shot. Anybody that know Tami at the time knows she was a beer drinker. She shouldn't have took that shot because it sent her over edge. But I'm not going to sit there and tell her how she should have did shit, because even when I get mad, I can't control how I feel sometimes. So, I feel like Shaunie Shaunie wanted people to kiss her ass. She wanted people to have an alliance to her, but I don't feel like she had really no alliances with no one else but Evelyn, because still to this day, they're the only two real friends from the show. So that kind of shows you, like, I feel like this, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Shaunie may have produced the show, but I feel like Evelyn ran that show. Because Evelyn was boisterous, Evelyn was, well liked by everybody, and I feel like to an extent Shaunie had used that to her advantage. And I also feel like she knew that Evelyn would fight her battles for her, so she never really had to get her hands dirty. Shaunie will say stuff out her mouth and all that, but I ain't never see her really get down. She had got mad at a party for her son when Jennifer had came and she said she wasn't invited. Instead of you telling her to leave, you took your kids and left. That made no sense. But okay. But yeah, I don't really think Shaunie really stood on no real business. Like she wanted to play peacemaker so bad, but she was sneaky herself. So as a CEO, as a producer, you really had no business being a cast member of the show. Yes, you were a basketball wife, but I really feel like the show should have been called Ex-Basketball Wives, because none of y'all was married other than Jennifer. And then Evelyn got married, and then 40 days later, she was divorced. So it's kind of like Ex-Basketball Wives would have been cool, but who am I to say what you should have done? But Shaunie, for years, fans debated whether being executive producer made her untouchable, and I feel like, yes, that's the only reason why. People was probably scared of losing their jobs and stuff like that, but fuck that. Disrespect is disrespect. And Shaunie let a lot of disrespect go on that show. She let Evelyn run through that show, sit up there and, berated Tami for the things Tami was doing and saying, well, we're grown women, we're this, we're that. Yeah, they were grown women, but at the same time, don't sit there and scold one. Scold all of them. So, yeah, Shaunie, I feel like you should have gotten to paint a little more. You soft-spoken, and those be the ones you got to watch, them soft-spoken ones. That sit there and say, oh, well, I love you. And then behind your back, girl, yeah, because I don't know why she, yeah, that was Shaunie. That's how Shaunie was. And now she married to a pastor, and, she decided to get rid of basketball. Why? Because she did it for 15 years. And so she has moved on. Cool. But, hey. Next is Evelyn. We kind of already briefly talked about Evelyn, but we're going to talk about Evelyn in the sense of her behavior on the show. So, I feel like Evelyn did a lot on the show, from bullying people about how they look, from their hair to the way that they dress. And a lot of times, Jennifer and Evelyn, y'all outfits was cute, but y'all wasn't all that at the time. Now you talking about something. But back then, during them times, y'all wasn't talking about shit for real. Like, y'all had on sundresses that you could get from Walmart. You feel me? Like, but y'all would sit up there and talk about people's hair. Especially Tami, when she first came on the scene, y'all was like, oh my God, what's that on her head? Royce, y'all sit up there talking about Royce and her style and said, oh, she doesn't dress right and her hair, this and all of that. And it was just like, if you really look at y'all, like Jennifer, you walking around with contacts in your eyes at what age were you? You feel me? You wore them bitches from season 1 all the way into the season 15, 16, whatever one it was on. You wore them same contacts. And Evelyn, you pretty and everything, but you got a strong face. And for you to be sitting up there trying to talk about somebody's looks and stuff like that, you have strong masculine features. And you're beautiful, but you like handsome beautiful, if that makes sense. So you were light-skinned, true enough, but everything that's light-skinned ain't really fine. So we're going to keep it there. But your behavior on the show was crazy as fuck. You throwing bottles, throwing paper, throwing this, calling people bitches, you talking about people's marriages. You doing a lot. You was doing a fucking lot on this show. And it's crazy that Tami had to pop you for saying that you slept with her ex-husband, like it was just cool. You feel me? Then you call her a 9 motherfucking factor. Then you made t-shirts about it, then got mad because that lady said she didn't want you to make no more. But eventually y'all came to a common ground. and you decided not to make any more shirts. But then you went on and started doing other things. Like you was sitting up there mad because Royce was on Twitter just for you to turn around and get on Twitter. You were mad at people for doing interviews, and you were doing interviews. And it's just like, girl, chill out. You my girl or whatever, but chill out. Like you doing a whole lot. And then I don't like how she did Jen. Yeah, Jen, you shouldn't have went on there and did an interview. You even though you said you told your homegirl, you should have left it there. But at the same time, your friend came to you and told you that she felt like your dude was a media whore. And from the time y'all got together all the way till you got married, with your ass done been in headlines. You were in headlines. And so your friend really wasn't pretty much off about you and your dude. So, but you were finally with somebody that was willing to marry you. So you were just going to go all through it. And so you did. And you eventually lost a friend and lost a man. And so there's not really much I can say on Evelyn, because after a while, Evelyn, started dating other athletes and she started doing other things as time went on. And so her time on the show was just what it was: chaos, messiness, everything that made a good show. Let's put it like that. So, yeah, that's all I got to say on Evelyn. I just feel like Evelyn had got a lot of favoritism on the show. I feel like she was able to do what she wanted, and I'm not sure if she was able to do stuff because she had connections like that, or if she knew so much dirt on everybody, So it's kind of like Evelyn just ran the show, and Shaunie was just there along for the ride. So, next up is Jennifer. Jennifer is a beautiful chocolate woman. She's beautiful. But she cannot fight. Jennifer, you cannot fight. You talk a lot of shit, but your hands do not back them up. Like, I didn't sit there and watch you on screen for 15 years being bullied, then being cool with the people that bullied you, then back being out the group, in the group, out the group, in the group. And it's crazy because you helped start the group. So it's kind of like, at some point, Jennifer decided to start getting a backbone for herself over the years where, she speaks up more and say how she feels. And I'm cool with that. But it's just like in certain situations, I hate when she let Evelyn punk her. I don't give a damn how long you've been friends with somebody. You don't let nobody punk you. And, you throwing drinks at you throwing drinks at Jennifer. You calling Jennifer a hoe. You talking about she slept with people when she was married, allegedly. And then it's just like, girl, she know more about your skeletons too. So it's like, when it was convenient for you, you wanted to try to expose your friend. Talking about, yeah, because I'm loyal to my girlfriends. A loyal girlfriend don't gonna do no shit like that. So you need to figure out what loyalty look like, Evelyn, because that was not it, ma'am. It was not it. And then I feel like Jennifer, as time went on in the show, she didn't have any more alliances because she wound up getting into it with Evelyn. She wound up getting into it with Tami. She wound up getting into it with Shaunie. Like the group dynamic when it came to Jennifer had changed a lot. And then she wound up eventually getting into it with Malaysia, about who said what about Malaysia's children. And it was just, Jennifer didn't have a good time on the show. I'm just gonna keep it real. She tried, but she didn't. She brought fashion. Jennifer can dress her motherfucking ass off. She brought fashion, and I'm happy that she, she found love or whatever. But I wish that she would have just waited before she got married to this current dude that she with, because people have robbed her and did things to her over the years, as far as men have been. So she has been hurt a lot. So I just feel like Jennifer, her time on the show, I feel like she should have had a backbone. Now we're gonna talk about Royce. Royce came on the scene, short, cute, dancer. She used to dance for the teams and stuff like that. I thought that she had great energy. I feel like the girls hated her off the gate. Episode 1, you can hear Evelyn talking about, yeah, and Royce, I don't like her because I heard she all over the place and messy and this, that, and the third and blah, blah, blah. Evelyn, you was all over the place and messy. So what we talking about, girl? Like, you sitting up here talking about, her hair and the way she dressed and this, that, and the third. Shit, you was dressing the way you was dressing and still getting cheated on. So I don't know what we talking about here. So I mean, I feel like Royce time on the show, Royce stood on business. You know, Evelyn threw a drink at her and she threw a glass at Evelyn and she almost punched Evelyn in her face. You feel me? It's like Royce time on the show was men, because she brought like 3 different dudes on the show. And then her infamous arguments with her and Evelyn and Jen. And that girl said to Jennifer, why would I call you and ask you if you are right if I feel like you the one that leaked your own pictures, allegedly? So it's like, Royce had a time on this show. And I also feel like Royce got did dirty because when Suzie ass was on the outs, she was there for Suzie. You feel me? And I feel like Suzie jumped ship. But we'll talk about Suzie real soon. But I just feel like her relationship and friendship with Suzie was one-sided. I feel like Royce was a friend to Suzie, but Suzie didn't know how to be a friend to Royce because she was too busy trying to be seen by the group. So, Royce, you had your time on the show, girl. You know, and I mean, what can I talk about with Royce? I mean, like I said, Royce had 3 different relationships. She had Dwayne, she had that light-skinned dude that she was with towards the end, and I know she was the baby mom of Dwight Howard. It's just like she had a lot going on. Then she was a dancer. You know, let's talk about it. It just came to my mind. Them hoes was mad, y'all. Them hoes was mad because they couldn't do no splits. Now, we know Suzie could do a split, but they were mad that girl Royce was down there popping their ass at that pool party. Y'all sitting up there mad. Talking about, oh my God, we don't want to associate ourselves with her and we don't want to do that. No, you hoes was mad. That's what it was. Y'all hoes was mad. How you gonna be mad about somebody dancing at a fucking place where they was asking for fucking dancers? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, y'all was sitting up there making a big old deal about this girl popping her ass, dancing and shit. Why y'all hoes ain't get up there and pop it? Maybe then y'all niggas would have stood. Y'all niggas would have stayed. You feel me? Like, pop that pussy for what real nigga. Something. Y'all hoes wasn't doing shit but sitting around talking about, we can't, it's not a good look. It's not this, it's not that. Girl, bye. Your time is over with. Stop talking. So, Royce, your time on the show, I feel like you came in, you did what the fuck was supposed to be done, and then you left. You know, so now we're going to talk about Suzie ass. No, it is no post Suzie, no none of that. Suzie, your motherfucking ass was on that show telling everything. You told what happened in Vegas, and you told on yourself. Evelyn tried so hard not to say what the fuck happened, and that girl Suzie said, I didn't tell nobody that you slept with anybody. Girl, what? You telling what? She did what down there? Tell some more. And you know, Evelyn was mad talking about what happened in Vegas, stayed in Vegas, and this, that, and the third, and all this. Girl, but y'all knew who Suzie was before you went on that trip. Y'all knew she couldn't hold water. Y'all knew all of that. Can't get mad at her for that. Y'all just should have kept y'all legs closed. So, Suzie, I just feel like once you got kicked out the group, you should have stayed out the group. You said you didn't give a fuck, but then you went back with your tail tucked between your legs and went and apologized and cried and all that shit just so you could get back in the group with people that really didn't care about you. I'm going to say this, Suzie, they only let you back in to the group is because you was the informant. Let me let that sink. Let me light my blunt. You was the informant. They already know that you talk, so they're not going to tell you their business all the way, but they wanted you to tell them what Royce is saying, what everybody else is saying, because every female that came on this show after Suzie, you made sure to tell them everything that was said so you didn't get your ass booked. You was the scariest bitch on the show, not Jen. The scariest bitch on the show was Suzie. Suzie may have threw that drink at that girl they call plastic surgery, but girl, bye, because your ass was sitting up there in tears when that girl Evelyn said, you're not going to be in the circle. You're not going to be around the group. I'm not hanging with her. You were hurt. And what you do? You came and weasel your way back into the group. And then when you got back in the group, now all of a sudden you want to start talking about people. Oh my God, Kenya's crazy. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. Girl. Please just stop. Your time on that show, Suzie, you was a hoe. Sorry. And I'm not talking about hoe as in open your legs hoe. I'm talking about as in you was a bitch ass hoe. You wasn't talking about shit at all. And then you tried to come for Tami, talking about right, Tami? off of food stamps, girl, you knew what you were doing. you know exactly what you was doing. And so, I mean, she repeated stuff that was said, and she got put out the group, got back in the group, and I really feel like Suzie was irrelevant to the show because she really brought nothing. You feel me? She just was there. That's it. I don't feel like she brought anything to the show. I don't feel like she really stood on no big business, you know. So, anyways, and last but not least, we're going to talk about my girl Tami. Because for years, people have said Tami has been a bully on the show and this, that, and the third. But if Tami is a bully, then we have to look at Jennifer was a bully. Excuse me. And then Evelyn was a bully. And then in some form of way, Shaunie was a bully as well. She just was a silent bully. So all of these ladies were bullies on the show. But we're going to fixate on Tami because of Keisha. But y'all don't remember Evelyn doing what she did to Gloria, Evelyn doing what she did to Ashley, her doing what she did to the lady that she said was talking about her daughter through emails. She threw a plate at her and threatened her. She threw a bottle at Kenya. It was like, come on now, like, Evelyn did a lot. She was a bully. Jennifer was a bully to those that she could bully. And she would bully the soft-spoken people. Because y'all saw how she got when Tami was in her face about them food stamps and she didn't want to do shit. She didn't want to do nothing. So, I feel like Tami came on the scene and anybody that knew Tami, first of all, I've been knowing Tami way before Basketball Wives. I knew of Tami when she was on The Real World. Anybody that really been following Tami's career, we all met her at a different time before Basketball Wives. So, if you want to be honest, the only person I really knew on the show at the time was Tami. I didn't know who the fuck Evelyn was, Jennifer was, and I really didn't follow basketball like that, so I wasn't watching who the fuck Shaq was married to. So I didn't care. So Tami is the only person on this show that was really noticed. So when she came on the scene herself. Fuck how her hair looked, fuck how she was dressed. Tami is just that big. She that girl. You can't fuck with her. She gonna stand on business and she gonna stand on business right there. It don't matter who the fuck it is. She didn't got in the paint with Evelyn. She didn't got into the argument with Jen. She didn't got into the argument with Keisha. She didn't got into an argument with DJ Duffy. She didn't got into an altercation. Well, not altercation, but an argument with Malaysia and Brandy once they merged into LA together. So it was just like, I feel like Tami stood on business, and I feel like Tami was the balance on the show because there was a lot of fake shit going on the show and behind the scenes, and Tami would be the one to call the shit just how it was. So, bully, I didn't see it. I just saw it that she stood on business, told people how she was coming, how she wanted them to come with her, and it was self-explanatory. But I don't feel like she was a bully, and if we gonna say she was, then everybody else was a bully. I feel like Tami was the most hilarious person on the show. She had lines. You feel me? Quotes. You feel me? She was funny as shit. And we can never take that from her. Every time Basketball Wives was coming on, I always had a kiki because I love Tami. Tami didn't give no fuck. Tami had said, hey, Jackie walked in here with that wolf pussy coat. Not the wolf pussy coat. You feel me? And then she told Evelyn, bitch, you are a non-motherfucking factor. You feel me? Like, it's so much that we could talk about with Tami, but that would take a show in itself. That's my girl. I feel like she did her shit. She did her big one. And I also feel like once time started going on within Basketball Wives, she started realizing that Shaunie was not her real friend. And they no longer speak anymore. They haven't spoken since the show had wrapped. You know, when she was still on there, she haven't spoken to them. She doesn't have a friendship with Evelyn. She doesn't have a relationship with them. Like, and that was the closest on the show, if you want to be honest, outside of Jen. But I feel like Tami, you know, she exited gracefully and went on to do wonderful, wonderful things, and I am proud of her. I'm proud of her growth and where she is today. So, Next, y'all, after this, we gonna be talking about a little bit about Jackie Christie and them. So y'all stay tuned.
I can feel like in the nighttime. Watch what she do when the light shine. Drunk niggas tryna talk in the strip club. Shorty silhouette look like a dollar sign. Caught up. That's just how a nigga brought up. Blow ones for your loony ass niggas. Straight bells for your toonie ass niggas. My niggas bigger than the bounce. Roll up in the bitch, still smell like a ounce. Right quick. Tight jeans on, so you feel my shit. Tell me something good, baby. Tell me something good, shout. Come bring it to the hood, baby. Bring it back to the hood, shout. If you saga feel like in the nighttime, bust it up and shorty when the light shine. Still fucking with your dream ass, nigga. I know you wanna break from your bottom.
Alright, y'all. Now, we're going to go to LA. We're going to talk about LA, y'all. Now, everybody knows that LA belongs to Jackie Christie. We just going to stop it right there. Jackie Christie is the fucking show. She is Los Angeles. She is LA, baby. Jackie ran the show. Jackie is the show. The show is about Jackie. So, you know, I don't know, y'all. I just feel like Jackie that bitch. Jackie crazy as hell. Jackie just was her own entity on the show. So, love her or hate her, question her, Jackie was the show. Malaysia, she was the peacemaker until she wasn't, because she had her moments where she was messy as well. You know, and then we had Drea. You know, Drea, she was a dancer. You know, she was other things that we're not going to discuss. But Drea brought a lot to the show, too. She showed that she wasn't no punk. I will say that. When she punched Sunday in her face, talking about her son and all that, I will give her props to that. And she stood up to a lot of people on this show, like Laura, because Laura was one of them. You feel me? Like, so Drea time on the show was what it was. And I feel like after a while, Drea started feeling like her shit didn't stink. And so you had to exit. You left. Bye. But I feel like she was the biggest breakout star for that show. I'm not gonna lie. Drea was the breakout star, but Jackie was the show. And of course you got Gloria and Laura. And I'm gonna be like this. Gloria was boring. She was boring, brought nothing to LA or Miami. And I feel like her sister was more entertaining because Laura was funny as fuck. She had one-liners. She, you know, her first fight off the rip was with Malaysia. You feel me? So it's just like Laura brought stuff to the show that Gloria didn't. And other than that, they really just brought like a family dynamic and stuff like that. But next. So LA was just what it was. You know, once Miami ended and we started getting key players from Miami to come to LA, you know, it started doing what it did. But I honestly feel like LA should have just stayed by itself. I don't feel like Shaunie should have came over there. I don't feel like Tami should have been on that show. I feel like Daytime had ran its course because they was the ones to pop it all off. And so I feel like that show should have just been centered on just Jackie and all of them. You know, bringing Shaunie on, she made things worse because she wound up getting into it with Brandy. And then Tami coming over there and the journey that she was trying to go down, it wasn't good for her to stay on the show as long as she did. But hey, she did. So that's all I gotta say on this shit. I just feel like LA did its thing, Miami did its thing, and I'm so upset that the shit is over with because that's been a part of my life for the last 15 years. So it stings. It stings a lot. I ain't gonna lie. But y'all listen to this music and I'll be back.
Tell me, oh, baby, where would I be? Probably gone. Oh. Cause it feels like a CPR. Cause it feels like a CPR. Maybe love again, like talk about it. No one understands me, no. You're the only one I confide in to, darling. I don't really need to lie to you, babe. Patience over all my pain. How you miss my heart, oh darling. Everything I've done, you know. I really never had a home. Damn, I really hate feeling alone. Maybe you can make me feel at home, baby. 'Cause it feels like CPR. 'Cause it feels.
All right, y'all. So we finna talk about who still talks to each other. So let's get into the team. Because this is Teality after all, so I'm gonna have to give y'all the juice. So, for years, Shaunie and Evelyn appeared to remain the strongest friendship in the franchise. Jennifer and Evelyn, roller coaster. They were friends, enemies, friends, whatever. Repeat. Tami and Shaunie, the biggest friendship breakup in basketball-wise history. The friendship eventually became so strained, and they no longer appear as close as they once were. Jennifer and Royce, they seem to have connected over the years, so they're trying to develop something. I don't think a friendship, but I think like understanding. And as far as Suzie goes, she disappeared from the face of earth. Nobody really heard from her no more. So I don't know who she's friends with, and honestly don't care, because like I said, Suzie brought nothing to the show. Now, I'm going to hold a millennial court, because I'm a millennial. So to my millennials, court is in session, and I got questions. I need y'all to put these answers in the comments and let me know what y'all think. So, did Shaunie play favorites on the show? Do y'all think Evelyn was protected? Do you feel like Royce was treated unfairly? Was Jennifer actually the victim? Was Tami the funniest cast member ever? Who was the biggest pot stirrer? And which forgotten wife deserves another season? Y'all tell me, because I already know that once y'all comment, y'all gonna go back and forth, and I love it. And I'm looking forward to it. Now, y'all, basketball-wise wasn't just reality TV. It was a cultural moment. It gave us friendships, betrayals, arguments, iconic one-liners, and enough drama to keep millennials like myself talking years later. So tell me below, y'all, who got done dirty, who got what they deserve, and who should never have been casted in the first place. This is Teality, where T meets reality. This your girl Betty, and I'll catch y'all next episode.
Like Curry, Stephen Aisha shit, but we more like Bella, Tommy, and Keisha shit. Gave you TLC, you wanna creep and shit. Poured out my whole heart to a piece of shit. Man, I thought you would've learned your lesson. Out, liking pictures, not returning texts. I guess it's fine, man, I get the message. You still stutter after certain questions. Keep in contact with certain necks. Do you though? Trust me, nigga, it's cool though. Said that you was working, but you out here chasing culo. And full time, chillin' poolside, living two lives. I could've